was just very underwhelming. We had such high hopes going into it.
He's winning next race. Yeah, look at this guy. Whenever one Williams driver's doing well, the other one's not having a good weekend.
Fully disagree with you.
Hey everyone, welcome back to Medics Talk F1. My name is Pramath.
My name's Amin. We just watched the Belgian GP, so let's get right into our thoughts.
Yes. So Amin, what were your thoughts about the weekend as a whole?
If I had to describe it in one word, I think the word would be a very boring. Oh, that's not even one word. It would be boring, and it was just every aspect of it. I think was there were a few moments that saved it a bit, but overall it was just very underwhelming. We had such high hopes going into it with the forecast, and yeah, just had such high hopes, and then it was crushed. Our hopes were
Even
crushed.
with the weather as well, right? Like
Yeah,
with last Grand Prix at Silverstone, the wet weather made it a lot more entertaining, but they ended up just delaying the race for like an hour and a half, isn't it? So,
yeah. The FIA, you can always count on the FIA to make things a bit more dull, can't you?
Let's push away the negativity for now and focus on today's episode. So we have a lot to unpack in this race.
First section, most memorable moment. Pramath, what was your most memorable moment of the weekend?
I think there's a lot of memorable moments throughout the whole weekend, but my biggest one has to be the battle between Lando and Oscar. I mean, you could barely call it a battle, but the way Oscar just flied past Lando, it was quite entertaining to watch, to be honest with you.
Yeah,
And it was quite early on as well, wasn't it?
yeah, literally first lap. I mean, with Lando, you know it's going to be a first lap bottle, but like we've never seen a bottle with a rolling start, so we got something new. I can see why it was your most memorable moment. It was very good. Like that was the only an hour and a half of waiting, and then you
Yeah.
get that straight away. It was quite good to see, but yeah, not much of a battle, like you said.
He didn't even try to defend it, but it is what it is. Now there's, I think, a 16-point gap between them in the championship solidifies Oscar's chances to win the Drivers' Championship. As long as he keeps doing what he's doing, he has a good shot at it. McLaren 1-2. Yeah, so I mean, what was your most memorable moment throughout the whole weekend?
So for the whole weekend, it has to be for the whole weekend because there wasn't much else that happened in the race apart from that battle between Oscar and Lando. So I'll look outside that race, and I think second to that would have been the move Max did on Oscar down the Kemmel Straight during the sprint. He put it in a good position during qualifying, put it in P2 after doing a low downforce setup, and you know he used his skill to wrestle that Red Bull into P2, and then yeah, no, he had the highest top speed, I'm pretty sure, during that qualifying session, just because of that setup they were using, and yeah, that was my most memorable moment.
Yeah, it was quite an amazing overtake on Oscar. I mean, he wasn't even pole position either as well, qualifying in P2, getting the overtaking, and it's a good amount of points for Red Bull themselves.
Exactly.
And I think Yuki also had that downforce setup for qualifying as well.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure the moment the new team principal came in, he made sure that Max and Yuki have the same upgraded car now. There's no difference.
Yeah, 100%, but we'll talk about Yuki a little bit later
Yeah,
on.
yeah. But I mean, overall, I think Max for that sprint really shined. Like that was my most memorable thing because not only like second to him doing that move in the first place, you saw him doing like a really good defense in the last part of that sprint against Oscar, and that was really entertaining to watch. Yeah, that's my answer. Max Verstappen.
Anyways, moving on, let's talk about underrated drivers. So, for this weekend, who was your most underrated driver?
Okay, yeah. It's funny you said let's talk about Yuki afterwards because my most underrated driver is Yuki Tsunoda. When you look at the results, I think he qualified high, or relatively high for Yuki nowadays, and then dropped down to P13. So on paper, it's not like a good drive, but if you take into account his confidence in the car, the compromised setup, because they gambled on a wet weather setup, but because of the FIA doing their thing, it became a dry race. So that's another thing that compromised Red Bull in general. And the poor strategy choice, if you put all that into context, then it gives you a better idea. And I would confidently say that this week we've seen Yuki be a lot more confident, him being closer to Max in general. And yeah, I mean, he qualified in P7, so only 3 positions behind Max. So I think we need to give credit where it's due, and I think Yuki did a very good job this weekend. What do you think?
Yeah, 100%. I mean, looking into the qualifying, I think it was around P6, P7, he was qualifying around there. And the strategy just wasn't there. I think they pitted him a lap later. So he was out there with the inters, didn't have the slicks until the end, and then he was held up by Pierre Gasly. So he had a decent race, but it's just a strategy that messed him up a little bit. He's an underrated driver, but I don't think the strategy was there for him this weekend.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, yeah, I agree with you. Enough Yuki glazing now. Who was your underrated driver?
For this whole weekend, I mean, mainly for the race, but Gabriel Bortoleto, underrated driver for this race. He managed to get into Q2 because I believe Lewis Hamilton's lap got deleted for exceeding track limits, so he managed to just be able to scrape into Q2 and be able to put the Sauber into P10 for qualifier. And he even managed to gain a position as well. So he ended up scoring 2 points. It was up to P9. And I think Sauber as a whole, they've been managing to score points over the past few races, haven't they?
Yeah, they're regular point scorers now, which is crazy to think about when you think about where they were last year.
We had Wolkenberg podium last race, a lot of points there. This weekend, Gabriel Bortoleto with P9, good points for Sauber, and it hopefully closes that gap between them against Williams. I know there's a little bit of a competition going on at the bottom of the table, so it spices it up a little bit. Potentially Sauber could get that P5 finish for the constructors, but it's going to be a difficult couple races ahead of them.
Yeah, and they need everything they can get. They need, well, actually they'll be losing a bit of wind tunnel time, but the extra funding, the prize money, this means a lot to all those midfield teams, so they'll be fighting hard for it. I'm sure.
Exactly, and it just like for Gabriel Bortoleto himself, it just solidifies him as a good rookie for the season. And when he gets to Audi next year, essentially, if they get a good car as well, he could probably see his first podium in F1 next season.
Yeah, we're getting a bit ahead of ourselves, but I like the energy. Without further ado, let's get into the winners and losers. Who is your winner for this race?
Biggest winner has to be Ferrari, man.
Ferrari, really?
There's a lot to unpack.
Okay, I hear you.
Hear me out, man. So we have Charles Leclerc managing to qualify P3, stay in P3. Good amount of points for Ferrari. Podium finish as well. Then we have Lewis Hamilton, gets knocked out in Q1 in qualifying, and he manages to put the car up in P7, I believe.
Yeah,
so
P7.
That's good points for Ferrari themselves. They're currently battling Mercedes right now for that P2 position in the constructors. And Mercedes themselves, they have George Russell scoring the points, but Antonelli just wasn't there, was he?
Yeah, Antonelli. I mean, now that you mention it, that would be a good loser to put into this video. I mean, we can talk about Antonelli a bit. Like, we saw him like in tears. That was quite sad to see, and like him being at similar age to us, like you can imagine the pressure on his shoulders, what he must feel.
Exactly.
It can't be an easy job. But yeah, back on Ferrari. You know what? I agree with you. I wouldn't say they're the biggest winner, because there are also other winners. But having heard you out, I think they're definitely a winner. Charles putting that Ferrari where it doesn't belong, and holding off Max, which is no mean feat. That was good.
That's a challenge in its own, just holding it off P4. I think Max wanted to get the race over and done with at the beginning as well.
Yeah, he did.
Podium.
Yeah, he was, and because they had that weather set up, didn't they? They had the wet weather set up.
It seems like Lewis Hamilton manages to do well when he puts the car in qualifying below P10. So
yeah, I agree with you.
Yeah.
It's like he has like the motivation that he usually lacks. You know, the passion, the fire. Anyway, moving swiftly on. Who is your loser?
Well, my biggest loser has to be... It's going to be a bit of a debate, but Yuki Tsunoda, man.
Yeah, get lost, mate. Get lost.
But it is a losing race for him, though. Like, he was about to put his first points in the first few Grand Prix.
Yeah.
And he hasn't managed to score any points recently, but with a poor strategy from Red Bull, as we mentioned already, saying that they pitted him too late. Yeah, P13, got stuck behind Pierre Gasly, wasn't able to overtake him, and then a no points finish from him. So it's just a poor weekend for him, really. But the qualifying was good, I have to say. But
qualifying was very good.
If there's no points on the weekend for him, then there's no points, is there?
Okay. So you can't say I haven't heard you out. I've given you a time. You made your point,
Alright.
but I fully disagree with you because, okay, so I get your point of view that overall, okay, losing weekend, whatever. But if you think of his P19 finishes, his P20 finishes in the past few races, you also see him in post-race interviews looking defeated. You see him seeming not to understand the car, and then this feels like them turning the leaf because you have the new team principal, you have him making sure that Yuki has the same car, you see him being the closest he's ever been in terms of positions to Max,
Yeah.
and you can say for sure, or with certain amount of certainty, with some certainty, that the reason he wasn't able to keep that P7 was because of things outside his control, like strategy, like this weather setup. So I feel like I see what you mean, that he started P7, ended up P13. That is technically he did lose, but I also think that if you contextualize it, I kind of disagree with you as well. But that's what this podcast is about, isn't it?
Exactly. I hear the external pressures, but I think at the end of the day, we could say that this is a big stepping stone for Yuki. I think the next few races are definitely going to be a good watch for Yuki. He's going to possibly score some good points. Maybe even a podium.
He's winning the next race.
He's winning next race? Yeah, I know that this guy. There's no way that's not. But
anyway,
moving on, let's talk about your winners and losers. So, do you want to start with your winner?
Yeah, okay, so my winner is Alex Albon. The reason I say that is because he's just done decent and not exceptional, not podium, not above a P5. But if you see his performance in relation to Carlos Sainz, who's having a stinker lately, but that's besides the point. You just see him putting that Williams in P5, good quality. You see him shine at like these drivers' tracks where it's fully confidence, where it's fully the driver's ability, and he's just doing such a good job that Williams isn't having a good run of reliability, so that it kind of taints his season as a whole. But he just held it together. He only dropped one place, considering you had the likes of Hamilton coming up, you had the wet weather, you had the reliability. He was able to keep it relatively similar to where he qualified, and yeah, just overall brought good points back for the team. And like you said, that midfield battle was warming up, so that this was a good weekend for the team as well.
Yeah, so that keeps them up into P5 in the constructors. It feels like whenever one Williams driver is doing well, the other one's not having a good weekend.
I agree with you, yeah.
It just seems like it was a P6 finish, right? That seems like a podium for Williams themselves. So
definitely
the amount of points for the team, and it's just a shame that Carlos didn't have the same weekend himself.
Yeah, he's struggling.
Yeah, 100%. I think he got knocked out in Q1 as well.
Yeah, he did. And he started in the pit lane.
Yeah, the thinker for him really, but
yeah.
Moving on swiftly, let's talk about the biggest losers. So, who was your loser for this weekend?
The coming off of a few weekends saying that Lando was my biggest winner. Well, actually, both race reviews we've done, he's been my biggest winner. It's time to equalize that. Time to just change that a bit, because my biggest loser was Lando, and I'll give a balanced opinion here. I'll be fair to the guy. So he had a bad sprint quali, bad as in he was in P4, and he was able to get back on the podium, which you have to give him props for. And then after that bad quali, he then went to put on pole. So another bit of credit to give to him there, very good. And then that's where it goes downhill, because first of all he loses it to Oscar on lap 1, which I will also look. I'm not even being a hater here. I'm being very fair. Which he might have messed up the grip into the straight and into the Eau Rouge and Rédion, but then just his stupid lockups, going off track. It's just you can't be doing that when you're fighting for a championship.
Yeah,
so I think that's the reason.
100%. For McLaren themselves, it's still a 1-2 for them. A good finish, good amount of points. I mean, they basically won the Constructors' Championship, but for Lando himself, it just breaks his confidence, really, doesn't it?
Definitely. And we know how sensitive he is to confidence.
Yeah. So hopefully it doesn't affect him for the next few weekends. We were talking about this in a previous episode as well, that we thought Lando's confidence was at its peak once he won the Austria GP, I believe.
Yeah.
So, But I think there is a battle between the two McLaren drivers, and it's going to be a lot more exciting to watch the next few races and see who manages to get on top.
It's quite like disheartening to see because there was a big gap between them, and then Lando brought it down to 8 points, and then now the gap's doubled again. But like, as much as I'm biased against him, not against him, okay, that's a bit of an exaggeration, but as critical as I am of him,
Yeah,
I do hope he manages to bring it back and give us a good fight. That's all we want at the end of the day.
there's just more content for us to go over and make episodes.
A surprise take today, a second loser, and I think we need to talk about like the whole management of that race. And I think for that reason, the second loser of this weekend was the fans, because we had such high expectations. We had Spa in the wet, which has historically been the best combination in F1, and then you go into it. I put it on at my time at 5 p.m. sharp, and then I see red flag, and it's been 1.5 hours, and the rain stopped. The track is dry, the sun is out. You see like some bald guy in the crowd just having the time of his life in the sun.
Yeah.
But they're still red flagging it for the rain. That was insane to
The
watch.
engineers are having like tea and coffee and everything.
Yeah.
They're all living their best lives. Everyone's out with their cars. Yeah, I mean, there was a lot of high expectations going into the race, as we mentioned. The weather forecast as well, especially after a race like Silverstone. But understandably, they had to red flag the race after a few laps on the safety car, having to make the race a bit safe. They could have managed that a bit more.
Yeah.
For the fans.
Arguably, it was worse conditions in Silverstone.
Yeah.
Like, and they still kept the race going.
Yeah, there was a lot more spirit at Silverstone, wasn't it?
Yeah, there was that Antonelli was it Lawson? Someone going to the other person, wasn't it?
Yeah, and they ended up
Because they couldn't see it.
Yeah.
Exactly. So, I mean, following on from that, I understand why the FIA would be more cautious, but I think they just took it slightly to the extreme. Yeah. Anyway, that was my surprise take. I think we go on to like our concluding thoughts. What were your concluding thoughts?
My concluding thoughts. So this weekend sets up the next few races quite nicely. So there's still a championship battle between Lando and Oscar. I think I mentioned this like too many times in this episode.
I was just thinking.
But yeah, no, it really does, and it's gonna make it entertaining to watch this intra-team battle. And also with the midfield between Williams, Haas, Sauber, V-Carb even. There's that battle for P5 as well, and battle for P2. There's just battles everywhere.
Yeah, battles everywhere. You've got it's going to be a good. I'm not going to repeat myself from the other episodes, but yeah, we have a lot to look forward to. We hope you enjoyed the episode. Make sure to subscribe, comment, feed our content to the algorithm. Follow our socials, link below. Enjoy the bloopers.
Should I say enjoy the bloopers? Oh, you want to say that?
Yeah, I've said it. It's fine. I mean, I've said it. We can just cut out all the...
This is the last one. What am I talking about?
Good saying, mate. Good saying.
Where did you qualify? P3?
P2.